All right, everybody, meteorologist Jamie Singleton waking you up again. Maybe you're already awake from the first tornado warning. Now, not to confuse you, but this is a second tornado warning for a stronger signature of rotation. And I pulled up a few more images here that I can show you. This is in effect for Franklin County and for northern Henry County, almost on the exact same path as our latest prior to this tornado warning. We had one go right over the same area, just about, diminish as it moved into Franklin County. But this one does include that same area just north of Martinsville. And you may be wondering what I'm showing you here. Well, this is the rotational track. The radar can compute the amount of rotation and it can track it over time so that you can see how well the rotational track on this particular cell has held together. And so if you look through Forsyth County, you saw one cell there. Simultaneously, we had another cell near King. So this would be cell number 2 and cell number 3 that are ongoing, and we may indeed see another tornado warning out for cell number 3. Right now it's cell number 2 that has the tornado warning in effect until I believe it is 6 o'clock. So that's to get your bearings on what we've got for rotation. It's an impressive amount of rotation. Now, showing you this is off my WSV3 software. Kind of gives you a simplified look at things. I've got what shaded I've got the scanners on here, just one second. I've got shaded here the amount of energy and spin combined, something we call the Energy Helicity Index. This is, you can see, increasing as we head into South Boston and Danville, and we are right on the edge of that where it's been increasing all night. Temperatures have been kind of holding steady, but the amount of instability in the air is enough with the spin that we're seeing these storms still want to fire up. And we've got a lot of storm activity upstream, but we can see that we do still have the tornado warning in effect for Franklin County. You need to be in a safe place, sheltered away from windows. Hopefully you already had that from the last warning, but if that caught you off guard, I was telling you to go ahead and prepare for the next one, because there is another one that's potentially moving into that area. There's a special weather statement out for southern Henry County. So if you're south of Martinsville and in the Martinsville itself, there's another cell that is to your south. So there are two cells that I'm watching and I'm very concerned with. Let's go right to the radar screen right now. Move this around here. We'll give you an idea of what I'm looking at. And decide what viewpoint I want to use. Okay. So we'll start by looking at the velocity couplet, because that is the most impressive looking velocity couplet I've seen. It's right around Oak level, and it's just to the east of 220. I don't have any damage reports coming in just yet, but if you rewind this, you can see it moved right over 220 at around 552, 553. That was at 556. 558. It's increasing in rotation as it crosses just to the east of Oak level. So this is, again, the same kind of path, maybe a little further north than the one we had about an hour or so ago, but this is more impressive in terms of looking at the amount of wind shear. It's even on both sides. You can see that the intensity is about the same on both sides, and this is more like we would see in a real tornado, unfortunately. Putting the storm relative on, this takes out the storm motion and just looks at the rotation within the thunderstorm itself, and you can see that's also very impressive. Now I can show you correlation coefficient. This is what's going to show us any debris. Anything that's in the sky that's not rain will show up as yellow, as orange, as green, and blue. And the more debris in the air, the more of a standoutish pattern you'll see here. Now we do see a lowering. It's kind of messy looking. It's not really determinate, what that could be. Normally in a tornado, if it's confirmed or radar confirmed, you would see a very pronounced area of lowering there. But I do see at least some leaves, or probably some small branches, small things being blown around a bit. My power in Franklin County was actually flickering not too long ago. Does that line up with our rotation? Yes, it does. And so there is At least something going on. I don't know if it's got down to the ground or not, but impressive amount of wind and rotation going on just to the east of Oak Level. Now, this technically still includes Henry County, and I still want to point that out because there's actually another little notch here that sometimes these things can develop into one or two areas of rotation. In a case like this morning, I told you it's going to be a very, very busy day. We're going to have this on and off throughout the day today, well into the afternoon. So you need to be in a tornado kind of mindset. We've also got a flash flood potential today because we've had over 3 or 4 inches of rain this week alone, and there are more storms putting down an incredible amount of rain. But this really is the most serious right now of the potential tornadic activity that I've been tracking at least over the past 24 hours, and that's going back all the way into North Carolina around Charlotte when all this stuff was moving through. By the way, if you saw the thunderstorm or were blown around by it at 9 o'clock last night, that was the Charlotte area tornado that was near Hickory, unconfirmed, and it made it all the way through Franklin County. These very same cells are continuing to develop in North Carolina, and they're hauling at about northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. They continue moving into Franklin County. I'm looking at 2 areas of rotation. There's one that's the main area of rotation. You can see the greens and the blues. And I also will point out that right over the same area where it just moved over, there's a new weaker area of rotation. And that shows up better if I show you the spectrum width. This looks at a radar beam and says, where are the winds changing the most within that radar beam? And so you can see one area here, there's a new area just to the east of Oak Level that is seeing a little bit where the radar is noticing that the wind is not correlating with the rest of the storm in a way that would be very stable. So this is also a very turbulent area. There's more turbulence here. So there are actually 2 potential wall clouds, 2 areas of potential concern, and that's probably why the National Weather Service, usually they will shave out the remaining areas, and I'm usually used to calling out the southern areas that are no longer in the tornado warning. This is not the case. This is actually a situation where I've got to keep that polygon up and keep you alert in Henry County because there's a second area over 220 right now of rotation, but the stronger area now is moving into Oak Level and Stanleytown, and it's going to be moving very close to 220 as it continues moving kind of to the northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Let's see what the new update from the Weather Service says. Tornado warning remains in effect until 6:30. Okay, for northeastern Henry, southeastern Franklin County, located over Stanleytown or over Bassett, moving northeast at 25. It's moving faster than that now. Sidnersville, Bassett, Snow Creek, Stanleytown, Oak Level, Sontag, and Figsboro, names I've been calling out before, but I still want to just catch your attention again. Now we're getting another update, and we're seeing that that area of rotation has continued to move north along 220. The good news in seeing that, it's more elongated. So we move it back just one frame. It was kind of tight there, and you have that second area in Henry County. We're going to advance this to the next available radar scan, which just came in, and we have an elongated area of somewhat weaker rotation, and the amount of wind turbulence is also lessened from this scan to this scan. So overall, in the past 5 or 10 minutes, it's weakened just a bit. Not to say there aren't some dangerous storms out there. We're still under the tornado warning, and there's still reason to believe we could have one develop at any second within this polygon. Notice that reaches all the way up almost near Rocky Mount. The special weather statement was put out first. That's what you see there in the gray and the brown color. The polygon now is in the red. That's where the official tornado warning is in effect. And just to show you the regular radar that you're used to seeing, You can kind of see a bit of a hook there where I've got that one marker. There's another indentation here in your oak level that you see a bit of an increase, and you're starting to see some new cells that continued the train now down through 220 down into Henry County. Now this is an area, again, that floods a lot. And as I put this in motion, you can see one tornado warning going by between 3 and 4:30 this morning. There you see a second one. Several of these repeated areas are getting a lot of rain. That's just pouring down out of the sky, and it's falling on saturated ground. So not to take out the tornado threat, but you also need to be, especially on 220, very aware of the fact that we could be seeing some flooding ongoing or beginning very shortly in and around the Bassett Forks area, as that's an area that's proven itself to be very susceptible to flash flooding because of the topography. Seeing some lightning jumping out ahead of the circulation right now, and just to give you a little bit of a heads up, I'm located right here, so I'm in one of these heavier rain bands. I've got a lot of wind outside as well. Let me turn around real fast and see. I'm gusting up to about 5 to 15 miles per hour here at the house. Certainly if you get a tornado, you're going to know it because it'll be up at around 100 miles per hour. I don't see that on radar right now, but I do still see the circulation that prompted the warning. I went back and read some of the comments. Some folks were like, just show me what's going to happen so I can go to sleep. You know, and I get it. I totally get it. But we can't do that in real time. All we can do is show you what's going on the radar screen, correlate it with what's going on outside, and try to give you advance notice. And we never know for sure what causes a tornado to develop and what causes it not to develop. Sometimes you'll see these incredible areas of rotation and they don't produce anything. The one that went over Henry County earlier, we've yet to get any ground truth reports of any debris. That said, the radar wasn't showing that much debris either, and we haven't seen a lot of debris in this either, just enough to kind of get it looking little bit suspect there near 220. I do see some very faint areas of that aren't cranberry, more of the reds and the oranges there. So we'll scoot back a little bit and see if we can follow that. So we're looking for debris, and we see a little bit in the air, little hint of something that the radar is trying to pick up on. There's actually a few more pixels that I'm a little worried about too, and there's a couple of little notches here outside of the tornado warning that I want to keep an eye on. This one right here in the Rocky Mount, that's kind of interesting. That's a little bit of a wind shift. That'll probably provide some straight line gusty winds. These are miniature circulations that are not likely to generate a tornado at the moment. The main one is down here. That second one that we were watching is diminishing as well into Franklin County. But there is an overall theme to all of this. And if you've been paying very careful attention since last night around Charlotte, the zone of the tornadic activity has started around Charlotte, and it's worked its way north throughout the night tonight, and right now it's on our doorstep. And even compared to the first tornado warning at 4 o'clock, this one is a little bit farther north. So what I want to tell people is that usually we talk about just south side, and that's where we're certainly at right now. But later on this morning, it may be Roanoke, Lynchburg, Bedford. It may be up into the Shenandoah Valley, Charlottesville. It may be some of the Allegheny Highlands. It certainly could be Danville into South Boston, Halifax, through Richmond here, anywhere along and south of this warm front. And you can see all the lightning here with the added thunderstorm activity that continues to train from Charlotte all the way to Winston-Salem. That's Davie County. That is Forsyth County was the county I was trying to quote on the first update there. So more wind outside. I've got the gusty winds in Franklin County. You may be able to hear it on the microphone. Seeing the lightning jump out there ahead of this, that's a sign of a healthy thunderstorm, healthy circulation. And still seeing some indication of some rotation. If we look at the spectrum width, you can see that little yellow dot there. There's where the most turbulence is in the atmosphere. So I'll put a marker there, and we're going to put a storm track on this. So if we were to extrapolate this storm out from the current location, it's going to move again very close to Union Hall, Redwood, just to the east of Rocky Mount. By the way, just that same area. I haven't been out there yet, but there was a kink in that thunderstorm as it moved in around 9:30 last night, just east of Rocky Mount on Route 40. So let me know if anybody gets any damage. But what you should be doing if you live anywhere within this red polygon and your cell phone's been going off, you need to be huddled into an interior room or a closet that has no windows. If you don't have a basement, you need to be on the lowest sturdy floor. Now, if you're in a mobile home, you need to get out of that mobile home. And I know it's dangerous to drive, but you need to get to a sturdy shelter if you have the time. If you don't have the time, you'd be better off if you're out ahead of the circulation. And I don't see anything confirmed at the moment, but if you know for sure it's coming, you'd be better off lying in a ditch and putting something over you. You're going to get soaking wet. And you don't want to drown, but you'd be better off getting underground in any way possible outside of the mobile home, because they will become very, very light and will flip like toys in situations like this, even when there's not a tornado. Not to knock them off or anything, but that's just what the science tells us. So we need to, have you prepared for that throughout the rest of the day today. Maybe it's a community center, maybe it's a school or some structure that is more secure and, is going to put up more of a fight against some strong tornadic winds. I'm looking at the track. I'm going to remove it because it's continuing to move up to the north. So there is still a tornado warning out for Franklin County now until 6:30. And the radar is spinning fast, giving us frequent updates. We do appreciate that from our good friends at the National Weather Service. Let's look at the all-important base velocity. This is the actual wind data. And I keep moving my marker to where that converges. So I'm looking at the greens going toward the radar screen. The reds are going away. It had weakened a little bit, but it's still pretty pronounced. It went away there for a second. So I want to show you what these things can do. Pay attention to the couplet there. See it right there? It's pretty strong. Now this was right at the top of the hour, right at 6 o'clock, 16 minutes ago. As I advance this, notice how it becomes loose, less defined, more of an elongated signature. So we weren't too worried about it just a few minutes ago, but I mentioned you got to stay on guard. Watch what happens. I'm going to advance it now to the current image, and there you see it's regenerated, at least in terms of not as elongated as it was. It looks a little bit more concise, what we would see in a potential tornadic situation. So we probably do have a lowering of some sort, a wall cloud of some sort. But here's the problem, and so many of our tornadoes happen like this. If you're expecting to see a typical Oklahoma tornado or something like you saw in Alabama, you're not going to see that here. If there is a tornado, it's not going to show itself to you because it can't. It's wrapped in all this heavy rain that is surrounding it. So I show you these colors just to show you that's the rain that's hiding the circulation. That becomes very apparent when we put our technology, our Doppler radar technology, to the test, and we can filter out the rain and just look at the raindrops movement. They make a sound when that beam hits them when they're moving toward the radar, and they make a sound when they're going away. It's the same sound you hear when an ambulance or a fire truck passes you real quick on the highway. You hear it pitch up and down. That's called the Doppler effect. We're using that same technology to kind of pinpoint the areas where we could be looking at some spin in the atmosphere. Still see a lot of fluctuation in the wind within these pixels here. So this is not rotation as much as it just is potential areas, or what the radar is seeing as turbulence. This often will line up with rotation, and in this case it does. That's why I put my red marker right here. So it's just to the southeast of Rocky Mount where we have that tightened area of rotation. In just the last scan, again, it's kind of lessened a little bit, and it'll come back and lessen. The overall trend as we go throughout the day will be for conditions to get more unstable, to get warmer, and to energize these storms even more as they move off to the north and to the east. So we have been looking at them dying out when they get into Rocky Mount and Franklin County, and that indeed may be the case again with this one. But over time, As the day goes on today, we're not going to see that happen. They're going to survive, and they're going to be, I'm afraid they're going to be more violent as the day goes on. So this could be just our beginning of what could be a very busy day. Now, speaking of which, we still have a special weather statement out for southern Henry County for Ridgeway, and you can see why if I put the velocity on there. One thing you can look at with velocity data, you can take the colors and look at the rotation that way, so you can see an increase in wind in the bright green colors and a decrease in wind from the radar's perspective in these darker greens and the grays here. So that is rotation. In fact, if you take out the storm motion, you will see it become red and green again. So what I've done is I've subtracted the fact that the storm's moving along at 40 miles per hour. Now we're just looking at the wind if you were the thunderstorm. And there certainly is some rotation here in southern Henry County as well. The one in Franklin County is looking more stretched out. There's some kind of boundary here in Franklin County that is allowing these things to kind of blow in more of a straight line wind fashion. That being said, still want to respect that polygon. It's up until for another 11 minutes until 6:30. This one down to the south has my attention more. Okay, so even though we officially don't have the red box here, this is a special weather statement, and it is put into effect for a reason. It's just shy of a warning, but they'll say at the very bottom here, this storm may intensify, so be certain to continue watching Jamie or whoever it is on television. Share this out. Studies have been shown that a lot of people that are alerted to severe weather aren't the weather people like the weather weenies like you who monitor every meteorologist in the world and know what's going on. They're the people that aren't aware. So maybe it's your cousin, maybe it's your mom or your dad or your sister or whatever that could be in the path of this one. And I'm talking about Martinsville this time. You don't see a tornado warning yet, but I see Will asking about it over at Channel, one of the other stations. We are watching this one very carefully. There may be another tornado warning coming very soon at any second. So if you thought, well, that one up to the north is weakened a little bit, and it has, it's still pretty strong. It's still showing up on the base velocity just to the east of Rocky Mount. But this new area is showing up even better. And it's showing up in an area that is also correlating with the possible debris signature that I'm seeing right here on the correlation coefficient. So you can see those lighter colors there showing up between Spencer and Ridgeway. This is headed into Martinsville. No warning just yet, but I think they are typing it as we speak because this is the velocity data, and I'm going to put a cursor here. I'm not even looking at the Franklin County cell anymore. That's how concerned I am about this new one. That's just to the west and north of Ridgeway, coming very close to Martinsville. If we look at our spectrum width, this shows us again the turbulence in the air that has been increasing over the past few scans. You can look back and see it kind of is loosely defined, and then as we move forward, this little zone here, it looks like between Spencer and Ridgeway, is where these storms are strengthening, and there's something that's causing them to spin up a little bit more and raise our concern level a bit. I'm actually seeing, again, very, very close to that area of rotation, I'm seeing a drop in correlation coefficient. That could be debris. It could be just leaves and stuff that the storm's picked up. It's not definitive. If it becomes definitive, you'll know. Because it'll look very, very obvious. But the fact that there's something there, right there, what I'm pointing at, that's concerning. Because I've seen tornado warnings issued with less of a signature than that one that you're looking at there. Let's go back to the base velocity. And again, this is a concerning signature because this is just the pure velocity. This is the storm relative velocity. So now we're getting into some blues here. And that's not good. That's when we exceed the greens, we go into the blues. That's some very strong wind that the radar's picking up there. And that just so happens to be where the correlation coefficient just north of Price was. So let me see, this is 50 mile per hour winds, 55 mile per hour winds, right up against storm relative winds anyway. inbound of about 50. So there's about, storm relative speaking, there's about 100 mile per hour difference in the wind there on that one scan. Now it's just updated, it's a little bit weaker. But you can see how things change very, very quickly. No warning just yet. They're still saying it's possible. The one alert that prompted us to jump on here is still in Franklin County, still just to the east of Rocky Mount. So let's show it to you here on a better way of looking at it, maybe a different way. I know that's a messy picture. Hold on one second. Let me grab this thing and rearrange it. Okay, so this is looking at the amount of rotation, and these tracks here show the first cell in Franklin County. As it strengthened, it shows the reds there. That track went right across northern and northwestern Henry County. This second area that I'm watching for an alert at any point, and here we have a new tornado warning in effect. This one is for Bedford and Franklin County, so they're continuing with that one. They've issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the second one that you see on your screen now. So we've got two new warnings to tell you about. This one right here includes Smith Mountain Lake. This is in effect until 7 a.m. All right, so that's in effect until 7 a.m. The severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 7:30. That includes the cell that you're looking at through Martinsville here. And I'll show it to you on another source where it's a little more plain as day here. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning in the yellow that includes all of Martinsville and Henry County. This is a rotating thunderstorm, and there is a tornado warning that is still in effect for another 35 minutes now. It's been extended to include all of Smith Mountain Lake. You are now under a tornado warning. You need to get to a shelter right now. And by the way, we also have a newly issued tornado watch in effect for all areas along and east of this red line. That's telling us basically what we already know. Unfortunately, that we know that the conditions are right for a tornado because we're seeing them all night tonight. We've been seeing it, and I've been telling you about it. Now, what am I showing you in these colors here? This is something that's interesting. This is called the Energy Helicity Index. And where it's elevated up to around 1.2, that's the potential for these storms to spin. Where you see anything is actually not good. So you can see as you move to the west here across the NRV, the colors do go down. That's why the tornado watch starts in this area. All right, so I'm showing you the warnings, but I'm showing you up underneath the warnings some of the science behind why we're looking at what we're seeing here. I'm going to try to pull up my Epic Pen here if I can find it. I downloaded it a while back. It's my Telestrator. Just give me 1 second. I'm still listening for the scanners. Okay. And Epic Pen decided not to work. So anyway, we'll continue to watch these two cells for you. Let's go back to this radar. This is the best for actually viewing. It's not the prettiest, but it's going to be the best for actually looking at the data. I am still very, very concerned. I know they've extended this tornado warning that includes Smith Mountain Lake. We'll look at that quickly. There's still some circulation around Union Hall and Redwood. So there's the new polygon that includes Westlake Corner and Moneta. You need to be in a safe place right now. It's becoming more aligned with the radar. It looks like it tried to diminish and it's kind of come back on us a bit. So we're still looking at rotation to the east of Rocky Mount, but this includes all of Smith Mountain Lake, Moneta down to the Pittsylvania County line and all the way up to almost Windy Gap here, going into the Hardy area, just to the south of Hardy and just to the east of Hardy. This tornado or potential tornado is moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. It was located near Sontag or 7 miles east of Rocky Mount. Moneta, Pinhook, Smith Mountain Lake State Park, western Smith Mountain Lake, basically Westlake. They need to correct that. Union Hall, Northwest Smith Mountain Lake, or Lakeshore in Goodview. Take cover now, move to a basement or interior room, lowest level of a mobile home for this tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm warning, showing more activity than the tornado warning, in my opinion. And this is tagged tornado possible. This is nearing the city of Martinsville. Martinsville, you've had 2 potential tornadoes just miss you to the north. This third one is going to hit the south part of town if it is indeed reaching the ground. There is an incredible amount of rotation here. That's on 220 and 220 Business, right where they meet up here. This is 58. As it rolls into town, you can see the lightning there increasing a bit right over the city. As you move toward Chatmoss, that's an area I would be very concerned about being in right now. If you're in Chatmoss or Martinsville, you need to seek shelter, especially if you live south of the bypass, south of 58. If you live south of 58 in Martinsville, you need to seek shelter, okay? So that's going right through as it continues to update. It's still looking very impressive. It was just to the east of Horse Pasture not too long ago. And I'm talking very close. So I've got a weather spotter out there. So now it's moved into more of the city of Martinsville. It's still a severe thunderstorm warning, but the rotation on this thing looks more impressive to me than the one in Franklin County. It's a bit broad. There's a few pixels in between where the colors aren't very bright. So I do get that part of it. So I do appreciate what the Weather Service does when they decide when and where to pull the trigger on an official tornado warning. But what they'll do is they'll tag the severe thunderstorm warning at the very bottom. If you're kind of a weather nut, let me show you something you can look at. You get to the very bottom of the warning here, and even though it's a severe thunderstorm warning, it says tornado possible. And just as we say that, look what's happened. We have a brand new tornado warning that includes Martinsville and southeast Franklin County, northeast Henry County. Now this one extends into Pittsylvania County right up to Callens. So that's what, 57 right there? So this potential tornado is right on the south end of Martinsville, and it could be following Highway 57 to Callens in Pittsylvania County. There's also a chance this could near Figsboro again in Franklin County. That is your 3rd tornado warning of the morning. Just since 4 o'clock this morning, we've had 3 tornado warnings right in the same area. They're right around Franklin County and the Henry County. Now this latest one here, again, I'm going to read you the text of that. I'm going to put on the, let's pop up something that actually says tornado warning. There we go. And move that around so you can get an idea of the areas in this. I'm going to try to put a track on. I don't know if it's going to let me or not. So you've got about, the speed it's moving, you only have about 10 to 15 minutes between here and Callens to seek shelter. That's moving at about 35 miles per hour. So Martinsville, at any time, we've got impact expected. We could be looking at about 5 or 10 minutes from now as we go a little bit closer into Henry County with this current tornado warning, and it could be nearing the Gretna area there as well. The second one, or the most original tornado warning, the earlier one, is still in effect for Franklin County, and that's kind of headed in the direction of Bedford if it continues at 7:13. That's a bit of a stretch in my opinion, but it could happen. So be on your guard in Bedford County, and you are in the polygon at Manita with this tornado potential here. So we're looking at about maybe 10 minutes from the lake, looking at it that way. So there are 2 tornado warnings, one in effect right now for Smith Mountain Lake, another one in effect for Henry County. We're looking at the potential for 3/4 inch hail, 60 mile per hour straight line winds, or the tornado itself, which could also do its own damage, as you well know. Just listening to something on the scanner, making sure we're still all good there. I'm going to go in a little bit closer here because I want to go right into Martinsville with this technology I've got on Radar Omega. It's got incredible mapping technology. So you're looking at Martinsville City. If there is a tornado, we're going in real tight here. Reeves Road, Mulberry Road, Cherokee Trail, Sam Lines Trail, Valley View Road, and Martinsville. The community of Hilltop here, just to the north of the circulation. Chatmoss is just off to the east. There's Route 777. Route 659 is right here. This is Philpott, A.L. Philpott Highway, known as Business 58. So it's going to come very close to that area there where 58 Business meets 57. So that's A.L. Philpott Highway meets Chatham Road is where the circulation is. So now if you are in Martinsville and north there near the hospital, you are just north of this at the hospital in Jones Creek. This is going to stay probably just off to your south. It's not incredible rotation, but they are continuing it from the National Weather Service, and it's enough to make me concerned because it's been pretty long tracked, and we continue to watch it now as it approaches 58, which this time of the morning is, I imagine, getting pretty busy. Folks heading to work at 6:34, watching it live. And I'm going to be posting these updates all day. Always pay attention to the time and the day. Don't waste your time watching a live video from 2 hours ago, because there's going to be more of them, probably, as the day goes on. Just a little word of advice. Leatherwood follows 57. That appears to be where this storm wants to move, pretty much northeast. That's going to put it going up across 58, going right up 57. Callens is way up here. You zoom me out a bit. Way up here. This is a radar indicated tornado warning. The next step up from this would be a confirmed radar tornado warning. We don't have that yet. That's some good news. None of these have been radar confirmed. And by that I mean definite debris on radar. We have not seen that. But we are seeing enough spin to issue the tornado warning either way. Now moving into Franklin County, now we're in the Union Hall in Foxport. Now I am concerned because I see a signature here over River Creek Estates near Smith Mountain Lake, Canterbury on the Lake. This is a velocity signature that looks very concerning to me. The greens are showing up, the brighter oranges are showing up there. Let me inspect that. All that's set up in meters per second. I'll inspect it on the other program. But this is near Foxport, just to the east of Crafts Point. Scruggs Road, very close here. There's Striper's Landing. So we're back to the northern storm now because that has intensified. So locations from Pelican Point to Scruggs Road there at the Duck Inn Market. As you make your way past Dairy Queen, let's see, that's near Westlake Corner. So this is south of 122. There's Westlake Corner. There's the Dairy Queen and the doctor's office. This is just to the south of there. So if you continue down Scruggs Road like you're going to the Smith Mountain Lake Park, basically, from the waterfront here, like you're going to the landing, that's the area I think you need to be sheltering in right now, because that does not look good at all. I got to tell you, that's actually more impressive than what we had out there earlier. And that's Route 601, Dudley Amos Road. If I'm calling out your road here, you need to seek shelter now. Blue Water Drive, that's where Stripers, I used to live actually on Stripers at the end of Blue Water there. That's a tricky area to evacuate. And by the way, the lake adds more danger to the wind. It actually accelerates the wind because the water is very smooth. These, if it is a tornado, it could briefly become a water spout, in fact, and then move back on land as a potential tornado. But we're here near North Shore now in Scruggs, near Striper's Landing. I don't know about Striper's Landing. If anybody's there, let me know if you're okay, because I'm getting a little bit concerned about this. Let me look at my debris tracker. And we're looking for anything that kind of sticks out here in terms of lower colors, and I think I do see a little bit. I don't know if it's enough to really get my attention on that. The velocity data is what's really getting my attention here, and this is moving closer and closer to Bedford County as well. So to zoom you out a little bit and give you a bearing, there's the county line. There's the possible rotation that kind of stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? And if you're in Moneta, you also need to watch out for this. Huddleston as well, because if this crosses the lake, it will come out on the other side, on the Bedford County side, and it will come out with force because the water will actually prohibit it from weakening. It'll actually strengthen it just a little bit. So I'm just going to name off a few more spots here because this is not looking good. Grosse Pointe, Eagles Roost, Casey. There's a little airport showing up here. I don't know if I've ever been there, but the little airport near the lake, W91, is in the path of this on Airport Road. That's in Bedford County, and Route 853, Route 888 in Bedford County. Scruggs Road, where it meets Dudley Amos Road, is the area I'm looking at right now. So let's see. I think it's just south of the intersection where the Minute Market is. So it's right over Scruggs, unfortunately. Yeah, that is the big intersection. That's what I'm thinking of, where the fire department is. So if there is anything there, I'm hearing something on the scanner now. We'll find out. Don't see anything coming across just yet. But this is, I mean, you talk about being right over Scruggs. It's right over the convenience store. There's the restaurant, the Mexican restaurant. There's, again, Route 1334, these little routes. I can even zoom in and show you all these little driveways. Waterpoint Drive, Parkway Avenue. Here's the community park, by the way. I thought I knew it's getting close to there. So this is Smith Mountain Lake Community Park. I'm going to leave the hand right there. So it's heading right toward the park. And luckily I don't think anybody's there at the moment. Hold on one second. Let me listen in on the scanner, what's going across right now. Okay, that's a public assistance call. I'm waiting on any damage reports coming out of Smith Mountain Lake under a tornado warning until 7:30, I believe. This moved right over Striper's Landing, potentially North Shore, and it's right at the intersection there, right there at Scruggs. So it's continuing up Blue Water, but the actual circulation's a little bit further to the south. Now, as we see an update here, I've got a very yellow, very bright looking pixel that's showing up. I mention that because that gives me a little more certainty that we're seeing. I mentioned the lake water may enhance the wind. I believe that's what we're seeing. And that's near Mallard's Crossing on the lake. Lake Pine Drive, take shelter now. Acorn Drive, Route 655. Smith Mountain Lake Airport, you need to take shelter right now. Take this serious as a heart attack. Skyway Drive, Sedan Drive. I believe I've got a friend that lives at the end of 655. So Megan, if you're watching, hunker down. She's in a low spot. There's a lot of low areas here. That's kind of the good news, but the bad news is the water can enhance these things, and I believe that's what we're seeing there. Let me pull up the other radar picture here, and let's zoom it back to where we can show it to you. I say we, it's just me. Just me here. We've got a classic hook echo, a little bit more of a classic looking hook with this one tornado warning that still remains in effect for Henry County. Martinsville no longer in that tornado warning, but the one that is in effect for the extreme southern part of Franklin County, Henry County, and Pennsylvania County remains in effect for another 17 minutes. This is in effect until 7 a.m. The second one is more intense looking, and we could be looking at the tornado there. There's a very concentrated look at the reds there or over the water. That's kind of an indication that you could be looking at something. When I look at base velocity, there's that yellow pixel that concerned me just a few minutes ago. I can read that to you now. That's 64 mile per hour winds going away from the radar. And we've got 10 mile an hour winds going toward the radar. So we've got 70 mile per hour gate to gate shear showing up. And that shows up on the spectrum width right here. That is right over North Shore, right over Scruggs. And again, it's about to move right into Bedford County. So I know a lot of people live in Moneta and watch me out there. I think this one's going to your south. But if you live near Huddleston, you need to huddle up and be ready for this to cross the lake and near your area. The circulation is very pronounced. You are not going to see this tornado or water spout if it is over the lake, because it is completely wrapped in all of this heavy rain. Thunder and lightning all the way up 122 to the Twin Bridges and Moneta there. Very dangerous stretch to be on when it's raining like this anyway. But then we've got the circulation there over the lake. Now let's look at the latest scan. A little bit weaker, but still showing up near the lake. Now it's in the Bedford County, so he may be able to call the Franklin County side of the lake okay for a second and focus in now more on the Bedford County side of the lake, because there's a little bit of a delay in this imagery as it reaches me and it reaches you on the stream, just going from the radar tower. But it's officially still right on the county line, and Franklin County officially is still under 2 different tornado warnings. But this is the most concerning that I've seen all morning long. Looking for debris. I don't see any debris, but there was a lowering. You see all that cranberry right there? There was a lowering right there. So let's mark that. That's where we had that lowering. Now let's look at our base velocity. So this was in the rear flank of the storm where we saw that 65 mile per hour gust that was right there. We also saw some debris kicked up, possibly by a tornado. You can also get straight line winds within the tornadic circulation. Does that make sense? No, not as I tell it to you. But if you're looking at this, just this part of the storm, these are straight line winds blowing toward the radar. These are straight line winds blowing away from the radar. And ideally, at least from a textbook standpoint, there would be circulation right in between there. Doesn't have to work that way. In the real world, there's all kinds of in-betweens. So we could be looking at a little bit of both. And that's why we like to tell people that if you're still in the polygon, you need to be ready for the potential for damaging wind either way. You could still lose power. You could still have trees come down onto cars and your roof and your house, and things can still blow away. Trampolines, yard furnishing, everything like that can still get picked up with wind like this. Still seeing a lot of turbulence up in the cloud. And of course, once the tornado forms, then you've got the destructive winds that come with that. So the tornado warning is nothing to take lightly. This is 122. It's just to the south of Moneta. I still think it's going to stay south of Moneta, but it may not be by much. It's moving more into the rural part of Bedford County. Let me also zoom back out here, and I'm going to look at the second tornado warning that appears to have weakened somewhat in Henry County. There's still a little bit of rotation to the northeast of Martinsville. We were talking about 57. It's still taking Route 57. The circulation is a little bit north of Route 57, north of Laurel Park. I don't see a lot happening. Chatmoss, you're okay. Axton, you're okay. Callens, you need to still be on guard in case this holds together or regenerates, like we saw with the Franklin County one. The Franklin County one is now the Bedford County one, because the circulation's moved into Bedford County just to the south of Moneta. Notice the lightning is reaching out even beyond the circulation, even beyond the tornado warning itself. And in a second, I believe, we're going to see this extended. I'm reading an update from the National Weather Service now. They're still looking at rotation in the low-level scans, and the one in Martinsville is indeed weakening at the moment. We say all of that with caution because this can change by the moment, which is why I'm just on live. If you go to my Twitter page, you'll see everything updated in real time as it's all issued. But if you live in Moneta, southern part of Bedford County, south of Bedford, if you live anywhere south of Bedford, but especially as you near the lake and near Huddleston, you need to take shelter and do it right now. Don't wait to see if it's out there, because this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a whole bunch of rain, and you're not going to see a distinct tornado if it's there. It's going to be basically wind and rain, and it comes up on you so fast that, and it's so concentrated, if it's there, it will catch you off guard and you'll be injured or killed. I cannot say it any clearer than that. That's why people die. They wait for it, they look out the window, and they don't take the precautions and get to the safest place available. You don't have time to react once you see it, because it's already going to be on top of you, because it's wrapped in rain. It's not like the kind of thing we see out in the plains where it's all wide and open and you see a distinct wedge coming down from the sky. This is a very messy storm. It's got a lot of water in it, a lot of water content in it. I can show you that there. There's the water content. So that's going to obscure the visibility down to near nothing. Now you've also got to add the wind on top of that, and we've got, again, 60 mile per hour winds showing up on the radar, still looking at 62 mile per hour winds here in yellow going away from the lake. And again, I think the water probably enhanced some of this away wind, but we've got some wind going toward the radar as well. And if I show you that on a scale that takes out the storm motion, we would put the marker just to the south-southeast of Manita. All right. There's where we're seeing all the circulation. Let me back up here and see if I have anything else. We got a bit of a curl showing up too. That's kind of a signature. You've got more of a what we call an inflow notch right here on the east side of Manita. So you certainly could be looking at some damaging wind even in Manita. The actual tornado is right south of there. Okay, there's 122. So this is headed toward 24 if it continues on this path. So if you live on 24, I know there's the gas station up there on the hill. A lot of people take 24 out for the shortcut. I think you come out in Forest near the Sheets there, near Lynchburg. That little path there is actually in the zone for this potential tornado should it continue moving. I only know that because I used to take that to WSET. When I worked there. Let me go back here and zoom out for a minute. Stand by. I got something coming across the scanner as well. Just bear with me here. Okay. That doesn't appear to be weather related, but that was an important medical call coming in. All right, so back into Bedford County now. I want to show you Manita. We're going to zoom into Manita. So apparently there's a little community called Radford. It's not the NRV Radford. This is Radford in Bedford County. This program has every single street and building on it. This White House Road, that's Route 608, where the circulation is right now. There's Ayers Road. If you live in Huddleston, this is just off to your west. And it's getting closer to you, but it's probably going to, the Chestnut Fork looks like it's more in the, and I don't know where the official communities stop and start. I'm just going to name them here. Chestnut Fork to Huddleston, down to Dundee, seeing the storm, the actual circulation is going to come closer to Chestnut Fork. That happens to be right, that red line is where our warm front is, by the way, and that is where circulation tends to be enhanced. So it's following the science as well in terms of where the greatest spin is. Route 805, Route 731, Route 735. If I'm calling out your route in Bedford County, get underground in the basement right now. Route 732. The circulation is still there. Now it has separated a little bit from the opposing wind direction. Okay, so we're seeing it in a more broad sense, but it's still pretty strong. So I'm going to continue watching that. Going back into Henry County again, because I've seen new circulation developed here north of Leatherwood. This is the same cell that's been moving out of Martinsville up Route 57. This is headed toward the Turkey Cock Mountain Wildlife Management Area. There's Turkey Fork. This is the Pennsylvania County line. This is Route 628, Route 57, Route 623. Snow Creek's up here in Franklin County. Here's Snow Creek Road. This is right over the Franklin County line, or the Henry County line, but before you get to Chatham Road. And I believe we still have something there. There's enough of a circulation to warrant my attention. It's actually increased again. So we have these two storms trading circulations, and they're not really doing that, but it just is the way it appears to us. They will cycle at times. We've also got a severe thunderstorm warning out for Eden, Cascade, down into near the Danville area, near Wentworth, where we had a tornado earlier this year. Reidsville, Madison. This is Rockingham County, North Carolina. There's very broad rotation with this. You can see it here. It's stretched out near 220 in Stokesdale and Summerfield. It's in a very broad sense rotating. Now, as it moves north and east toward Wentworth in Reidsville, it could increase and narrow that rotation. So if we see the diameter of this rotation continue to shrink, the tornado warning will be issued. Another one for Rockingham County in North Carolina. There are additional severe thunderstorm warnings in effect all the way down through High Point, Winston-Salem, down to Asheboro. All this activity is moving up to the north and to the east, and it's intersecting with wind that's coming in out of the southeast, and it's continuing to cause these storms to A, spin, B, the hidden danger. The hidden danger is all the rain that's falling out of these things. So we're going to have some flash flooding too in some of these thunderstorm cells. So let's say you live at the lake and that circulation is just in between Moneta and Huddleston, and you're wondering what's to come. Well, you've got more cellular development here. Now I'm just got into my geeky talk. You've got more storms off to the more rain that's going to continue to come down. So you may not notice it when the tornado warning gets lifted. Your actual visual inspection out the window is not going to change. It's still going to continue raining. It's only with the radar that we can see if the circulation starts to happen again within another one of these rain bands. Any one of these areas could become a tornado today. That's how volatile the atmosphere is in terms of wind shear. So any one of these we have to keep an eye on. But I try to give folks a little bit of a heads up with the, you can sometimes predict them and see them develop in the very early stages. All right, now we've got a brand new tornado warning issued. That is for Bedford itself. This includes Good, includes 460, 122, with a circulation possibly near 122 or nearing Chestnut Fork there around the Davis Mill area. Looks like I got a bit of a bow echo showing up. Let me go back to the velocity. And right there over 122, yeah, we've got the circulation. So this circulation jumped north as it moved out of Moneta. Now it's over Davis Mill. It's headed toward Five Forks, Otter Hill, and potentially Bunker Hill, which you know is 122 as it gets very flat up there. The topography does change as you near Bedford. It gets a lot flatter, and the mountains do not protect you from tornadoes, but the flat terrain doesn't help. The storm will be able to breathe better as it moves closer to Bedford. That includes Big Otter Mill too, Otterville, Peaksville, Bunker Hill, Chestnut Fork, Huddleston. Still officially Huddleston, you're in the polygon for this, but the circulation's up to your north, and it's moving to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Let me see if I can read it to you, and let me get that on the screen elsewhere so I can show you. We'll show you this. And reorient ourselves here. So there's your new tornado warning for Bedford for another half hour now. You can see the lightning with that as well. And try to put a track on this. So it's only about 12, 13 minutes away from Bedford if it were to hit Bedford right on. And I know a lot of the power that goes into Franklin County sometimes feeds from this area. So even though the storms are to your east in Franklin County, the power may start flickering once they move into Bedford, because for some reason I think there's the way the power works, sometimes that's what I've noticed over the past few years of living here. You've only got 15 minutes on the edge of this, so about 15 to 20 minutes. And you folks in Lynchburg, an early heads up that this holds together, that would cross into northern Bedford County, perhaps near Big Island, perhaps in the Amherst County. Again, I've mentioned all these areas because I've got highlighted here underneath all these warnings. This is the amount of potential spin in the atmosphere. Where you see all the shaded color, it's going from blue to yellow to orange to red. This is the amount of spin that we have to work with. So it's increasing up to the north. It's not decreasing. And that's why the Storm Prediction Center now has a tornado watch out for Charlottesville, Fredericksburg, Richmond, Petersburg, Farmville for the entire day today. So we're going to let this one warning expire right over the lake. You'll see that in just a second. The other one's also about to set to go away. So we'll watch that in real time and let the new warnings kind of refresh and come in here so we can reorganize ourselves here. It's got about another 18 seconds. I know some of you are just counting down. And you may see a new one issued here any second. And they say they had the National Weather Service did have to put this new one out for Lynchburg until 7:30. Not for Lynchburg, for Bedford. As you see a live lightning strike there on your screen. Till 7:30, because the potential for spin, given the low amount of energy in terms of heat, it's the coolest part of the day. That's called a Sherb value, but it's pretty high if you take the wind shear into account to all of that. That's what the Weather Service is saying they're watching. Now, this includes Bedford and also includes most of Bedford County here for another 29 minutes or so. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Eden and Reedsville for 60 mile per hour winds and up to 1-inch hail, perhaps, for another 30 minutes or so. Both of those storms are rotating, but we'll focus in on the one in Bedford County because that's the one that's kind of got everybody's attention, and for good reason. Let's look at the rotation with this and see if we can see anything significant. You can see how it jumps, or it looks like it jumps in between radar scans. Pay attention to the red. This is a track of the past hour's rotation, and you can follow that storm up to its current positioning right now in the Bedford County. You can see where we were in yellow, which is significant rotation, but when you get into the reds here on the rotation track, those are higher values, and you can see where the storm wrapped up its circulation right near 220. This was about an hour ago. Then it weakened as it moved closer into more inland, more into Franklin County, I guess. That's what I'm meaning to say there, near Sontag and north of Snow Creek. Then as it neared Pinhook and the Smithmount Lake area, the rotation quickly increased again. Notice as the rotation weakened, the rotation here is not showing up as well because the radar is currently, or the algorithm is currently analyzing it. This is used mainly to look at a past track, but you can kind of get an idea of the severity of the rotation. There's the one that moved right across Martinsville. You can see that is kind of weakened as well. And we've got these broad areas of rotation down here in the Carolinas. Everything in North Carolina is going to come across our area at some point today, at least the point of North Carolina that we're worried about. So there's still a lot of weather to go throughout the whole day today. It's going to be a dangerous day, I'm afraid. So going back to our severe weather radar here, it looks to me like I'm seeing a bit of a weakening with this Bedford County cell, but I think they're playing it safe. You can see just a couple of scans ago we had impressive rotation. Let me get you lined up here. Sometimes these weather forecasts when I'm live and off the cuff can look like a bad eye exam, and I apologize for that part, but just what you got to do. So that was at 6:53. Fast forward to the latest scan, you can see the rotations maybe right in through here. It's nearing Bedford, but I got to be honest with you. There's a little bit of lessening in the severity of it. Don't get me wrong, it's still spinning. It's just a little more spread out. That doesn't mean anything though, because as this continues to update, you'll see it cycle sometimes. But it's going to go just south of Bedford if there is a tornado, I think. Just south of Bedford. Here's the regular base velocity. And there's Campbell County, starting to edge closer to Campbell County, moving to the north and to the east. So let's see if we put a storm track on that. I'm going to try to manually track this thing real fast. Place a marker there. Storm motion from marker, and we'll put a storm track. Now the rotation, as I say that, has now increased again south of Bedford. So what the radar's doing is it's catching these in between, kind of like us when we breathe. We take a deep breath and then we talk. Like I'm doing right now. Sometimes the storms will do that, and you will see that reflected on radar. You'll see the rotation weaken, it'll get stronger again. So it's stronger again. South of Bedford, I see a little bit of a lightning jump there near Bedford itself. There's another one coming in. There's been a correlation with lightning and increases in rotation. So it's weird that I said that, and right as I said that, you saw those two bolts there pop up. No doubt you're hearing the thunder probably as far north and east as Lynchburg in a situation like this, where you've got a lot of cool air near the ground that can travel. I say relatively cool, but it's also kind of unstable as well. So this continues on its track. The next 15 minutes will put it past Bedford and Good, 460 and Timberlake Road there, if you're heading into Lynchburg. And that would put it closer to Big Island and Amherst. So you need to be kind of thinking, if you live up in Nelson County and Amherst as well, if this were to hold together, or if we get new storm development, where would you go and what would you do? You're under a tornado watch throughout the day today. Any shower can produce a tornado today, even if it's just a shower with no thunder. That's how much wind energy we have to work with today. Now I'm going to zoom in to look at any kind of thing standing out here. There's a little bit of a increase in pixels there. That's indicating some wind shear. Get rid of the storm track because that's going to change. The storm tracks that you see are very fluid no matter what your source, because they have to continuously update with the radar signatures. The folks in Good and Bedford should be already sheltered into a safe place. Now, if you live in Forest, you're not officially under this tornado warning. Notice the polygon stops at Forest and Timberlake there, but you need to go ahead and treat it like you are in the tornado warning, because this is going to head in very quickly, and it's only a matter of time before the Weather Service will either cancel or extend this. Looks like they're going to have to probably keep it up for right now. So let's read the update here. Tornado warning remains in effect until 7:30 for central Bedford County. At 7:03, that was 4 minutes ago, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located near Huddleston, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Bedford, Huddleston, Forest, and Good also includes the D-Day Memorial, folks. Take cover now, move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. And then second, I might try to pull up a live camera if I can get on my VDOT site and show you what's going on there. We've also got a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Franklin, Martinsville City, Franklin County, Henry, Pennsylvania. That's probably our old storm. Okay, so this is a new one. Bear with me because this is now the fourth warning that we've had. We look in Franklin County, I see some rotation right near Snow Creek again, right there near Turkey Cock Mountain. That looks pretty interesting. But I believe they are warning on this part of the storm that's moving into Henry County right now. That's a big polygon. And you need to be up to date on all these. I'll read you the warning. Let's go back to the regular radar so you can see just the heavy rain and the lightning there. There's a little bit of a kink right there. I'm watching in Franklin County. That could also be a tornado. That's why I think that polygon is so big. So it's for central Pennsylvania County because it includes Chatham and Gretna, city of Martinsville, south central Bedford County, Henry County, southeast Franklin County until 7:45. We've got a severe thunderstorm located over Fieldale, so it's down here near Martinsville, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So it's moving really fast. 60 mile per hour straight line winds have been measured by radar in this. So 60 mile per hour winds, whether they are rotating or not, will blow out windows. They will take trees down with them, and they'll take part of your roof, siding, things like that. Locations impacted, again, now we're back to Martinsville, Gretna, Chatham, Axton, Pinhook, if it holds together, Spencer, and Callens. So we're going back to velocity. There is some spin between Stanleytown and Martinsville. Can you believe this? This is the fourth area of rotation to move across that same area. Those poor folks from Stanleytown to Spencer. And I feel bad because a lot of times these actually don't verify. I haven't heard of any damage just yet, but I'm listening on the scanners and seeing if I can't catch anything. Oak Level is in this as well, and you need to treat this as a tornado warning. By the way, we're getting a report too of rainfall, over 3 inches of rain, with some minor stream flooding in Patrick County, reported by a train spotter. So we're seeing that flooding I was talking about becoming more of an issue as well. I don't want to forget the cell 2 in Wentworth. This one's also spinning. You can see the reds and the greens. This one's moving up to the northeast and could be nearing the Danville area within the next few minutes. You see the update there. Let's see the latest from the National Weather Service. That severe thunderstorm remains in effect until 7:30, another 20 minutes for Pennsylvania and southeastern Henry County. But other parts of Henry County are under the other severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. So just about all of Henry County for fourth or fifth time in the past 3 hours. It's got to be some kind of record. But in this area we do actually see a lot of tornadic activity, so not to take away from the seriousness of it. Eden, Reidsville, Wentworth, Bethel, Stoneville, Mayfield, and Quick. And a tornado watch is in effect until 2 o'clock for the entire area. So remain alert for any possible tornado in this severe thunderstorm. And you are seeing quite a bit of lightning jumping out of this thing, I'm noticing. But what I'm also noticing is still this itty-bitty little area of rotation just south of Pinhook. There's Highway 40. It looks so innocent, but it's so defined. It would not surprise me if that's a low precipitation supercell. There's not a lot of rain with this one. You may actually see a wall cloud or something around the Pinhook area. It weakened just a second ago, but just the past few scans, there's something there. This gives you an idea of the amount of wind shear. When these itty-bitty little showers start rotating, you're in for a long day. Now, the official polygon does not include Rocky Mount with this, but could include parts of Franklin County and certainly Henry County in the near future, down through Rockingham County, North Carolina, Pennsylvania County, and Virginia. And the active tornado warning continues now for Bedford. Some very strong winds showing up now in Bedford County. So this is 460. That would be 221 up here. So 460 is in the path of this potential tornado. I apologize for that. Just crossed State Route 43. putting my marker where the rotation could be, and I'm also going to look back and look at the radar. So this is going to be a rain-wrapped tornado. It is showing some signs of debris, nothing definite. Tons of moisture in the air, that's what you're looking at there. A lot of rain, a lot of water content. It's stretching out somewhat, but it's now come back together since I was going to say that. So you can see it stretch out right there just 10 minutes ago. Less than 10 minutes ago. And then when you fast forward to right now, it's back. And just as strong as it was earlier. So we can't turn our heads on any one of these storms for a second because each of them have a potential to be a tornado. There's also some flash flooding ongoing now for Greensboro, Winston-Salem. If you're going to be down in that area, I'd say all over our area, watch for low spot flooding and flash flooding. Broad rotation in Wentworth, but some straight line wind damage is certainly possible. See some broad tightening rotation north of Martinsville. Still watching that area, but the one in Bedford is the one that's got the most rotation right now in the Bedford County. So that tornado warning continues until 7:30. We'll put a storm track on it. Now this is only tracking the potential tornado. This doesn't track, obviously the thunderstorm itself is going to take up a larger swath here. So even Lynchburg was going to get the eastern side of this. And actually Lynchburg may want to, on the west side of Lynchburg, you may want to watch out because you could be next in line for a tornado warning if this holds together. But I'm seeing on rotation, I'm seeing just as much rotation as I've seen with this since we began tracking this one. Storm relative rotation's up as well. There's our spectrum width, it's high as well. So we'll continue watching that. Let me bring up our latest warnings here. So for another 15 minutes now for Bedford, we have a tornado warning in effect, but we could see that extended. And then looking down through Franklin County and Martinsville and Henry County, we have more severe thunderstorm warnings active at the moment for another 15 to 30 minutes, including Rockingham County, nearing the Danville area, also nearing the same part of Henry County. It's been hit 3 or 4 times again this morning, and now going into getting closer to Lynchburg out of Bedford. Now we've got a tornado warning that continues for that cell as it's not wanting to give up. So if you live in between Bedford and Lynchburg, you should be taking shelter, and that includes this mountainous area up and around Big Island. You may think the mountains would weaken it. Sometimes they actually don't do anything to weaken it at all. If the storm itself is still holding itself together like this one is, I would not be surprised if it continued into Amherst County. And we've seen that happen before, haven't we? So we're going to keep our eye on this one in Bedford County very carefully. Let me zoom back in here. So let me look at how close this is to 460. Could be right over 460 right at the moment. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up something. I'm going to try to anyway. Trying as we look at the rotation there nearing East Lynchburg, Salem Turnpike. There's Lowry, Good, Lake Manor Estates in the path of this. Norwood is as well. Route 668. Goggin Ford Road. Kansas Corner, or no, what is that? Crantis Corner Road, Route 784. That is where I'm looking right now at the most rotation. What you know what, the Bedford camera is down on VDOT, but I do have some cameras. I'm watching 460. Alright, pull this over. Let's back up. So that's 460. Get my bearings here. Hard to tell. There's a little bit of wind there, maybe. This is pointed more at the road because it's VDOT's thing. They're looking more at the travel impact from this. You see folks just riding around. Otherwise, you wouldn't know you're potential in the path of this. And officially, I don't think the warning includes this area, but I'm trying to see if any of these cameras are catching the clouds. Any kind of a indication here. Do see some low-lying clouds. It's very hard to tell on that. Okay, so we minimize it. You see how these clouds are just screaming along here? That is on the near the Poplar Forest area there. And these folks out just riding around their cars. No idea. I don't think Lynchburg's officially under it, but you're getting very close there. Let's see. Don't see anything but just low clouds showing up. A lot of motorcyclists there on 460. They're heading out of harm's way. I guess they're headed toward Liberty, it looks like. Let's go back to the radar. So I'm going to get lost in the cameras and forget the radar. This is getting closer to Good now, and it's getting closer to 460. It's right over 460. Hard for me to think there's not at least some very intense wind ongoing there. I'm showing 70 mile per hour winds now in Bedford County near 460. This is about to cross 460, head toward Good and Forest. And right there, it just crossed 460. Just as I said that, we just got a new scan in from the National Weather Service. So there's your good news if you live in Bedford proper. It's just off to your east, but do not go anywhere if you're in Bedford because the possible tornado is just a few miles off to your east on 460 right now. It's going to narrowly miss Timberlake. It's probably going to go closer to Forest with time. I keep calling Forest. They're not officially in this, but that circulation is getting awfully close. And I'm not sure if it's even circulation at this point or just straight line wind, because you got to remember the radars in Floyd County. These could be more of a straight line wind signature that we're seeing. There's a little bit of debris showing up there as well. You can see the little indentation there. That's a sign the storm's picking up some leaves and something. But we're also getting farther away from the radar. We're looking at 3,800 feet in the sky. And if there is a tornado, it's probably in that first 1,000 feet or so, very low to the ground. But you can start to see the outer city limits of Lynchburg showing up there. This is just off to your west. Definitely some very high wind potentially reaching the ground here. So you folks in Forest need to hunker down and get away from windows too. You can see there near Good, very high returns, very high reflectivity, and a new tornado warning, as I mentioned that, just issued for Lynchburg City, for Amherst, and for the rest of Bedford County. This is in effect until 7:45. National Weather Service has the West Central Appomattox County, North Central Campbell County, Northeastern Bedford County, Southern Amherst County, City of Lynchburg, again until 7:45. It's for another 23 minutes. At 7:21, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over Good or near Forest. It's moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. My radar puts it at 48 miles per hour, so somewhere between 40 and 48 miles per hour. It's nearing in on 50 mile per hour forward movement. And this is the radar indicated. Flying debris could be something that we're looking at with this. You want to stay away from windows. You want to get into an interior hallway or a bathroom, something without windows on the lowest floor possible. Shelter and shield yourself with couch cushions. You can get a mattress a comforter, pillows, anything you can think of. And a lot of times the bathroom will have the extra plumbing that you need to maintain the integrity of the structure. So a lot of people go into their bathtubs and they cover up, even put football helmets on to protect them. As many walls as you can get between you and the outside is even better. Under a workbench, under a table is a good idea. Lynchburg, Forest, Coleman Falls, Madison Heights, Boonesboro, big shopping center there. You're in the path of this. Pleasant View and Good. And it also includes Liberty University. So you folks at Liberty need to watch this. Although, if I'm being honest, it's gonna probably narrowly miss Liberty. But officially, you do need to be, if you're on the campus of Liberty, you need to be taking those precautions because you are, they put it there for a reason to include Lynchburg City. Just kind of, cover all of Lynchburg here with this, but I'm seeing a lot of wind with this particular storm there near Good, and that's not a good sign. We'll put our marker here. So now it's near 221, and the winds are increasing. Now I'm looking at 79 mile per hour winds blowing away from the radar. 79 mile per hour winds, nearing it on 80 mile per hour winds in one direction. That's near 221 between Good and Forest. Nobody should be on traveling in between Good and Forest coming out of Lynchburg. You need to stay put and do not go anywhere near this area between Good and Forest because that's a very dangerous looking signature in terms of turbulence, in terms of straight line winds and tornadic wind activity. Plus, it's pouring down rain to the fact that you're not going to be able to see this tornado. It's going to be wrapped in so much water. It's going to probably give you some flooding as well. And it's going to be hard to drive on that. So just stay put and get to a shelter right now. Every second is vital. Let me look up into the storm a bit and see if I've got an updraft showing up. Right there, I did. Okay. Do a little geeky stuff on camera here because I wanted to look at the strength of that updraft. It's very strong. It's up again, blowing raindrops above the freezing level. That's how strong the updraft is with this, and you expect that with this tornado warning that we're looking at. Notice the lightning now is jumping out toward Big Island, toward the mountainous areas there to the north and west of Lynchburg, but an incredible amount of wind here that's headed toward at least the west side of Lynchburg and Forest. You're good. You should be seeing things picking back to more of a normal state in Good itself. But Forest, very, very close to this circulation. And let me read some of these winds. Still up around 60 to 65, 69, 89, 91 mile per hour winds showing up. That's that dark green right there. We're looking at nearly 100 mile per hour winds at 4,000 feet. That's as high as that's as low as the radar will let us look. We can look at other sections of the storm and see that goes all the way up. But this is as close to the ground as we can get without looking at some of the other cameras in and around this area. So Lynchburg under the tornado warning. And again, you folks, especially on the west side of Lynchburg, so let's go in here. That's 501. 501 is a dangerous spot to be on right now because this is going to come very close to 501 as it nears your area. As I say that, I need to check on myself real quick. Make sure I'm in a safe spot. Getting some stronger wind, and there's still some circulation within the Franklin County storm. We don't want to forget about that, but certainly the Lynchburg storm is the one that gains all the attention right now. But we'd also have still some circulation showing up in Rockingham County, North Carolina, and in Henry County. These are small areas of circulation that the radar may not even be picking up completely, but there could be miniature tornadoes within this little area of wind and rain, because I'm certainly seeing a lot of turbulence outside my window as I'm well away from that. Put up an updated marker. Lynchburg city limits are right there. This is Bedford County. Environment still remains good with the couplet continuing the cycle. So basically you're looking at a cyclical process. Now when we look at just the rotation, this is called something we call the NTOR. It basically puts a numerical value to the rotation, and you can see where it's at. It's right there between Good and Forest, just to the north of there. Let me see if I can show you anything in 3D with this that we would take note of.
Yeah, probably parked vehicle northbound 2904.
Sometimes this can give you a little bit of perspective. So this is the 2D view, right, of the storm. So we're going to tilt it and go 3D. So our updraft is right here. That's feeding the storm's rain, and that's getting up to the freezing level there at around 10,000 feet or so. When I was looking for the updraft a second ago, I was looking for some rain above the freezing level. That's rain that doesn't have time to freeze, because the updraft is showing these very strong signatures just above the freezing level. I'm also looking for any debris. So anything I'm looking for here would not be in the cranberry colored. It would be kind of in these yellow areas like that. Looking for anything that stands out. Nothing is standing out in terms of like certain debris. But you can see the high wind in 3D as well. Now let me go back to those yellows. See how these are all blowing away from the radar. So you can actually tilt that up to about 10,000 feet, and you can see that it's just as windy near the ground as it is up in the jet stream right now. That's how windy this storm is, whether it's rotating or not. And again, it's passed by Bedford, but it's hitting, just gonna clip Lynchburg there to the north. A little bit of potential debris with that. A lot of water energy, or a lot of water in the atmosphere. That's basically what this shows. An increase in droplet size or concentration will bend the radar beam, and it will send in this basically. So you're looking at a tilted updraft, and you're looking at the actual beam showing the reflectivity there. The tornado could be in that, could be somewhere in here. Let's go back to 2D. Don't want to make you too sick as you're trying to track this thing. Got more spread out here, but still a dangerous storm. I don't know if it's any weaker, it's just bigger. So I don't know if we take anything from that or not, but still looking at Lynchburg to be in the path of this, and that's in Amherst County as well, this tornado warning. I'm going to go right now the correlation coefficient, because now this is what I was afraid of. Folks, this is debris. This is a radar confirmed tornado. This is the real deal. If you're watching me right now, please hit that share button right now. It's 7:31. Everything just changed. We went from looking at a potential tornado on radar to very impressive circulation to definite debris. I told you we know it when we saw it. That lowering right there that you see on the screen, that is not rain. That is pieces of trees, wood, roofs, siding, cars perhaps. We don't know. It's not weather. It's something else. So this is debris because it lines right up with the circulation on radar. And that is being lofted at 4,200 feet. I don't see anything on the weather chat right now, but they should take note of this. I would think in a second they're going to take note of this and tell us that is a very, very concerning signature. That's pretty much confirming that we have got a tornado on the ground, or at least wind damage occurring. And that's occurring at a spot that doesn't really look all that impressive unless we look at the storm relative rotation and we kind of see something there. But when we look at the correlation coefficient, that just jumps right out. And I haven't been able to show you anything on correlation coefficient because we haven't really seen any debris. This is the first time all morning I have seen debris popping up on the correlation coefficient. So the radar is looking at all the drops in the sky. The rain scatters the beam a certain way. When a tornado hits something, it'll loft the little splinters up in the air, and the shrapnel and all that. It gets lofted into the air and it comes back, and we can look at the shape of it and see that it doesn't match the other shapes. Another thing that debris will do is it'll fall in a tumbling motion that is nearly spherical to the radar. So if it's a 2x4, that 2x4 is tumbling, so that if you watched it over time, it would be like a circle. And with this product, I never show it except in extreme cases. But that lowering right there of gray, that's debris tumbling out of the sky right now. Folks, this is a tornado in progress. This is a tornado in progress. This is a confirmed tornado, radar confirmed north and just outside of the city limits of Lynchburg. Take shelter on 501 from Big Island to Lynchburg as well. This is really concerning. That is a very, very strong tornado. Power's even flickering here. But again, that tells everything we need to know. That's everything. We don't even need to look at the velocity. That's chilling. Okay, let's go to let's pull this up on our street level software. So now you can see how that stands out, right? Perryville, No Business Mountain, Eagles Erie, Coleman Falls, Boonesboro, near the shopping center there, very close to this. It's probably okay, and this is also right over 644 Fleming Mountain, Rocky Mountain. Bethel Park is right here. That's Huntingwood. This is a confirmed, radar confirmed tornado. You're looking at debris. Where you see the blue and where you see the green, that is debris. The rest of this image is rain. The tornado is right here. There's a lot of debris in the air. It's either a tornado or it's straight line winds, but because it's in a circular area right there, it's heading right toward 501. My goodness. Let me see if I can get a live picture up for you here as we continue to watch that. Boonesboro, Peddler, Coleman Falls, Big Island, just off to your south, but not by much. But it's going to move south of Big Island, but it's headed right toward Eagles, and I don't know how to pronounce that. Eagles Ire. It's over Fleming Mountain right now, coming out of the Boonesboro Country Club. And as you make your way farther north and west of Lynchburg is where we've got that. I've also got a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible down to the south out of the Carolina area, but this is by far the most concerning signature that I have seen all morning long, and that is the drop in correlation coefficient. This should be classified as a confirmed tornado. It's not being shown that way right now. Let's see if I can get my bearings here once again. There's the drop in correlation coefficient though, which pretty much tells us there's some damage. There's a lot of damage being done somewhere. And So we go back in time. Let me see when this happened. 11:27 Z. So that's about 10 minutes ago. Everything was still fine. And then at 7:29 and 9 seconds, debris started to show up. And you can see how it moved right over where I had my cursor. Now it's being kind of fanned out, so it's not as concentrated. We are looking at 4,600, almost 4,700 feet up in the air. But this potential tornado is just outside the Lynchburg city limits. And it's going to be wrapped entirely in rain. You can see that the rain continues to fill back in all the way down to Bedford. So any one of these little showers still could produce spin in a tornado. There's also a flanking line of showers down here across the Campbell County, Bedford County line. Any one of these could begin rotating. Heavier rain continues through Franklin County. I'm almost certain there's some flooding ongoing as well. And we see this huge severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Danville now. That's in effect until 8:15. Also includes Caswell County, City of Danville, Charlotte County, Campbell County, Halifax, southeastern Henry County. 60-mile-per-hour winds with this. Danville, Eden, South Boston, Yanceyville, Bethel, and Halifax, including the Danville Airport. Tornado watch for the entire area until 2 o'clock. But this whole area, south side, including Halifax, Charlotte County, need to watch out. I'd watch out everywhere, honestly. Looks like the lake's going to get hit hard once again. But our Lynchburg tornado warning, I'm hoping that we can take Lynchburg out soon of this warning, because the circulation and all the damage is being caused in Bedford County. And it's like they're watching the stream. They took Lynchburg out. That's good. So you folks in Lynchburg can breathe a little easier, okay? Now, it doesn't mean the rest of today won't get active. We've seen these happen one right after the other this morning. Keep an eye on Lynchburg throughout the rest of the day, and that includes everybody that's watching in Virginia and even in North Carolina. But the circulation and the damage indicator with this, so you can see that's debris. And that's crossing in Amherst County now. So we've got lightning showing up. It's going to be hard to tell if this is getting to the ground or not, but there's debris that was lofted about 15 minutes ago from that circulation. And still not shown as a reported confirmed radar confirmed tornado. It's very interesting to me. But we are asking you about that on our chat. Let's see what the Weather Service says, because that to me confirms everything. It could be straight line winds. I doubt it. This is how concentrated that was, and it kind of follows a circular rotational pattern. You can actually go back and almost see that spin in that signature. So it's just right on the Bedford-Amherst County line is where we're looking at this. Bring up a couple NDI sources, show us the rotation here. And this keyboard, mouse control. You can follow the tornado, what appeared to be the tornado, as it moved. This is the same cell that was over Smith Mountain Lake an hour ago. It moved over the lake, moved back over Manita. It weakened some. It strengthened as it neared 460, and it moved to right. Every time these things strengthened, they moved right a little bit. And then it got really strong as it neared 221, and now we have it at its present state. All right, so Weather Service says they definitely see that correlation coefficient drop. They see that debris showing up, but they are not certain about it. And the reason they can't be certain about it is because of the fact that the radar is in Floyd County and the beam goes out in a straight line while the earth curves under it. So there's no way to see what's going on the ground, at least from the radar standpoint, with this. So trying to collect our thoughts on our chat here and see if we have anything to look at. And I'm going to go back to 511. It does look like traffic is stopped here coming out of Bedford on 460 there. It doesn't say what it's for. So I'm just going to pull up some cameras. Everything looks fine there. Don't see anything there. Going up more in the path of this, I don't see any cameras to look at. Forest Hill has some traffic backed up, but that could be normal traffic. There's the James River. I'm going into Amherst County because I'm trying to get in the path of this where I can see the sky. I don't see anything. This could be debris that was lofted well into the sky, and it could be just like leaves, but that was so certain looking. We'll keep an eye on these cameras. The one good thing, it's hard to tell, it's so far away from the radar. This is now, we're getting into no man's land in terms of radar coverage, because as this moves out into Amherst County now, it's not as defined, but we are looking at 5,100 feet up into the storm. No one's heard anything yet from damage, but you're under a tornado warning in Amherst County. Again, that is in effect for 7:45. We got some power lines down. Let's see. I believe that was in Pittsylvania County. So that includes Amherst, still under that tornado warning. I'm going to regroup for a second, find a safer place to be for myself, and see if I can't listen in on the scanner and collect some of these damage reports. But in the meantime, if you're in Amherst, take shelter right now. You have a dangerous tornado warning. Circulations showing up here. And we're just waiting to see if there's any damage out there. So I'll jump back on. There's still some severe weather moving into Danville, some very high wind. I will jump back on if I get another tornado warning. In the meantime, I'm going to see what I can't find out there damage-wise and listen in on the police reports, because the scanners are going crazy as well. Stay safe, everybody. Tornado watch for the entire area through 2 o'clock. Also watch for flooding. We've had over 3 inches of rain on top of another 3 inches of rain that we had earlier. Some areas have now seen 6 inches of rain since the week started.